Welcome back to For the Record. As we recap this year in politics, we're also looking back at the top headlines. And this year, the State Department of Public Instruction found itself in hot water after an investigation from the Capital Times said grooming cases were, quote, shielded from the public. The paper's reporting found more than 200 Wisconsin teachers, aides, substitutes, and administrators were accused of sexual misconduct or grooming behaviors towards students in a 5-year period. The investigation also found DPI has minimal resources dedicated to investigating these incidents, and officials allow educators under investigation to forfeit their credentials in exchange for avoiding in-depth probes. I sat down with the state superintendent, Jill Underly, in an exclusive year-end interview as she continues to defend DPI. And I want to talk about one of the bigger headlines that came out that you were criticized for this year, which was that Capital Times article that was a year-long investigation. It kind of put your department under fire for the way that it handles sexual abuse and grooming allegations in schools. You've defended DPI during multiple videos, during Senate committees, things like that, saying that you followed state statute when investigating these incidents. As you reflect back on this now, do you still feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what I would say right now is that that headline was completely false. Our job is to investigate, any allegations of misconduct and with teachers. That's our job. And I'm proud of the work that we do at the DPI. I mean, we're very thorough. We, use the information that we are given to make sure that we are not putting any child in harm's way. And again, I'm proud of the work that our agency does. And so I felt that that was not fair, those allegations towards us. I will defend the DPI because as a mom and as a superintendent, as a lifelong educator, I mean, there's nothing more important to me than making sure that kids are protected.
And so would you still call for a correction for the Cap Times test today?
100%, absolutely.
And I want to ask too, because one of the things that struck me from that investigation was the staff dedicated to handling these incidents. It's one full-time, one part-time, albeit it does have the support of legal counsel, yes. But is that enough staff to deal with these investigations?
We do what we can with the resources that we have. Of course, I would love to have more staff, but with the staff that we have, we are thorough. Of course, more would be helpful, but it's also we work on the speed of which we receive information, and there's a lot of going back and forth to get information from investigations.
As you look to 2026, is there an effort to bolster staff or hire more?
Well, we wish we could. We wish we had more resources. We get our funding from the state of Wisconsin, and so if we were to get more staff, we'd have to get more funding from the state of Wisconsin to do so.
Do you feel that there's been an impact to public trust in your department after this?
I hope not. I think, we stand on our record. I think people know that the work that we do, we have integrity in what we do and that we are here for kids. I feel that when you have these entities attacking the systems that are meant to protect kids, that's the part that's really harmful.
So are you doing anything in particular to rebuild any public trust that you lost after this?
Well, I mean, what we do is we just constantly will, do our job. I mean, we're effective and we are efficient. The people who do the work are good people. And so we just continue to do the work, and that is to protect kids.
And I also remember when this was kind of unfolding, you also called some lawmakers and some folks running for governor, their reactions to this a political stunt. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of simplifying here. Yeah. Do you still stand by that statement?
Yeah, I do, because anytime you politicize this, it's not helpful. Protecting kids and making sure that we have every kid safe in their classrooms, that shouldn't be political.
But after this, we did see you roll out things like a new database, and Sure. There were changes that were made. So is there an argument, so to speak, that the publicity that this got and the public scrutiny did make some good changes for the department?
Well, to that effect, I mean, we have always been transparent. So all the information that we've put in this database, it's really just a website that takes information that was already publicly available and reorganized it so that it's a little bit easier, I suppose, for people to find the information. Before the article, we had already been promulgating rules to look at teacher conduct and a code of ethics for teachers. So that was already in the works well before this article. So I guess really in some ways it may have sped up some of the things that were already in process, but at the end of the day, we have always been transparent.
And this article also said that these issues, as it called out, were before your administration as well. Talked about Governor Evers' time as superintendent. Have you talked to him at all about this and how to address it or move forward?
Well, I mean, there's always been, cases of educator misconduct, before me, before, Governor Evers when he was superintendent, all the way back. So, I mean, we're going all the way back. And even during his term, there were attempts to strengthen the laws around it. And that is something that law enforcement has asked us to do or not asked us, but asked the state legislature to do is define grooming. Because if we can define it, then we're able to make sure that we're very accurate in making sure that we're getting these individuals out of classrooms.
Have you talked to Evers about that?
It's been part of the conversations our offices have been having, yes.
To hear about the priorities for DPI heading into 2026, you can find our full interview up right now on channel3000.com. And next on For the Record, negotiations to elections. We're breaking down the top stories in politics when we come back.